Well, we are back here on a Wednesday now on Midlife Love. We started this last week. We're talking about falling in love, dating, and finding that right person to be with for the rest of your life. Does it happen after 40s? We have Anissa Hassan from Date High Flyer with us again tonight. Anissa, welcome back.
Thank you, Tim. Hello, Justin.
All right. We will also open the phone lines, of course, to anyone who's interested to ask any questions. So, Anissa, if you're too shy to call us, and the number to call us is
66911-938 or WhatsApp 963-11938.
You can always WhatsApp if you're too shy to call in, but we will entertain your questions. All right, Anissa, so we are talking about how people will know if they're ready or not ready to go back to the dating scene.
Yes.
What are the signs?
Well, having been in business for 15 years, I can tell rather quickly when I meet the person whether he or she is ready to start dating again. It often comes from the way they express their faith or their fear in a relationship. Right? So too often the singles, when they come to me, they feel that or they think that money can solve a lot of things. They can just hire me as a matchmaker and
Well,
poof.
because you're called Date High Flyers, it looks to me like, if I throw money, you'll make it happen.
I can make it happen to a certain extent as long as I know that you are in the right state of mind as well. So singles come to me sometimes in a state of confusion, right? And my job is to get them to the clarity that relationship can happen once you're very clear about what you want in a partner, and also you must come from a space of not being needy.
Okay, very
Right.
interesting. We'll get to that later, but yes, continue.
So there are 7 signs. Over the years, I've compiled these signs that I know for sure that they are not ready for a date. So number 1 is if you're still married.
Of course.
Yeah, and they come to me, having endured a very bitter divorce or going through a divorce, and they're not ready to do anything about their the next life that they want to build. And I always tell them that if it's over, end it. Right?
So when the marriage is over, ended, don't prolong the suffering.
Prolong the suffering. If it's over, don't come to me in between, separation and not knowing what is the next step for you. So when they come to me, they're always in a state of confusion. They're generally lonely and they want to fill that gap or that void that they're currently feeling. So I would tell them that's when you're not ready yet, because, to be in a relationship, you need to be 100% present. You don't need another person to fill that void that you're currently feeling, because it could just be temporary.
Okay, a rebound.
A rebound.
Yes.
It could be a rebound, right? And secondly, if they feel that they're still married, they're not ready. Right? So they're still saying things like my wife or my husband or my wife does this or my husband does this.
Or
So
my ex and my this.
they don't say X yet.
Oh, they don't say X yet. So if you say X, it's already one step forward.
Yeah. So they are still emotionally attached to their previous spouses, right? So I feel that they have not made a clean emotional break.
Okay.
So when they are still referring to their ex-spouses as their current husband or wife.
Okay, but for some people, for many people, I think that's a very big step to take, to declare your wife or husband an ex.
If it's a divorce, then, it's okay to start dating. But if you're still referring to them as your current husband instead of your ex-husband or your ex-wife.
So this
then
happens,
that's
right? When in a divorce or whatever kind of relationship, after they break up or they separate, there's always still that window of opportunity to reconcile, and therefore they don't call them ex yet.
So that's when I know that it's not the right time for them to start dating. It's for them to start reflecting on themselves and reclaiming what they have lost, because they have been a couple for a very long time. So when you are no longer together, you have to start looking for that identity that was initially tied to that relationship. So if you have not found that individual identity yet, then you're not ready, because you're still half, or you're still part of a whole.
Okay.
You think that you're still part of a whole instead of you being individually secure of who you are.
All right. I'll pick up on that later. Go on with
Sure.
your other signs of somebody's
Yeah,
not
I
ready.
feel that if they have been divorced for slightly more than a year, then they would be in a better mind space
Okay.
to start dating. But if it's any earlier, then it would be rushing, or you just want to date because you feel that you want to get back or you want to get even.
Get even. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hear that a lot.
Yeah, with your partner. So that's when you're coming in for the wrong reason. It's not seeking your happiness, rather you're seeking revenge.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's when I have a very nice quote to share with you, right? And it says, if you don't heal what hurt you, you'll bleed on people who didn't cut you.
Oh, wow.
So what that means is, you're bringing your emotional insecurity,
To the next relationship.
to the next relationship, when it's supposed to be, when you want to start a relationship, both must be on a clean slate. Both must be emotionally ready and prepared, and mentally also have that space to accept another person in your life. So that's when I know people are rushing into things, and if you have not been, if you have not given yourself that space of at least a year to find yourself again, I think it's best not to start dating, because it comes with a lot of consequences, and none of
Okay.
which are positive.
All right. Now I'm going to pick up on a couple of things. First of all, the time frame. So you said a year and a half
Yeah.
is when pretty much is the right time to start dating. But won't you advise people to first set yourself free? You're free. Go see more people before you decide
Yes.
on a more serious
Yeah.
relationship or dating.
Yeah. But dating at 40, that's where it's different from dating when you're in your 20s and 30s, because you don't want to date randomly. Right? When you're younger, you can meet lots and lots of different people. Once you start dating again or re-enter the dating scene again when you're in your 40s, you have a lot of responsibilities, and you don't want to introduce a family into the mix quickly, right? So you may have a child, or you may have children that will have some effect once you start dating or bringing somebody new into the fold. So you won't want to be dating randomly, as opposed to when you're in your 20s, when there's not many responsibilities or obligations. So yes, you want to start meeting people again, but first you have to get clear. You have to be in the right mind space, and your heart must be open and ready and sincere about moving on with the next step in your life.
Okay, now in terms of being needy that you mentioned earlier, it's funny because I thought, older people in their 40s and older won't be as needy anymore, but you still encounter people who are?
Absolutely. I think, they feel lonely. A lot of times when suddenly you become single, there's that void that you feel, needs to be filled very quickly.
Okay.
So that's when you are, like I said, in a state of confusion. You don't have proper tools to tell you, to move forward confidently. So they start hanging on to a person or become latched to a person quickly if they see
There's
one or
a little
two.
bit of interest or
Yes.
somebody showing you
Yes.
some, what do you call that? Affection.
Affection, yeah. So I always tell them, do not
It's just a crush, guys.
infatuation with love.
Yes.
Right? Because infatuation is like we mentioned last week, it's a spark. So and sparks will die off.
Right.
They will fade. But love is when you accept the person fully, completely, unconditionally, with all his or her flaws and strengths. So that takes time to develop.
Okay.
So they feel needy because they feel lonely.
They feel needy because they feel lonely, and they think that this affection will make them happy. And what happens to a person like that, though? So you know that this temporary affection, infatuation, will make them happy. Is that dangerous for them?
Yes, of course. So you are coming into a relationship not knowing or not having your identity. So you're coming in thinking that this person will make your life complete. So my answer is no, you make your life complete. And when you're together, you become a power couple. You don't get him or her to fill that void.
Right.
You come in present, fully 100% ready to bring your A game to the next relationship.
Okay, one last thing. Talking about getting your own identity, what advice do you have for people who have just gone through a divorce or a separation and trying to get that identity back? It's not easy if you've been married for 15 years together with the same person. You kind of forget who you were before that happened. What are the steps? What can you advise to some of our listeners who might want to get out of that and get back their own identity?
So firstly, I think they need to take time for themselves, whether they go on a trip, whether they go on a retreat, whether they go on a meditation session, find themselves, find their core, find who they really are. And they need that time, they need that space. So that's when they'll start uncovering details about themselves that may have been buried when they were in a relationship, right? Because especially if you're in an unequal partnership, your identity is probably subsumed under his or hers, right? So when you are now freer to do whatever you want, having no you don't have to be accountable to anybody. That's when you need this time to be away and to clear your mind and your space and your heart. So that's when meditation helps, or being with friends who are supportive.
So just don't jump into the next relationship. Just go find yourself, be with supportive
Reclaim
friends.
your identity.
Reclaim your identity. That's a good final word there from Anissa. Reclaim your identity before you start dating again. Otherwise, you'll just be doing yourself or the person you're going to be with a disservice. Thank you very much, Anissa, for coming in. Anissa Hassan, Date High Flyer. Forgot to mention that we are live on Facebook, so you still can catch it on Anissa's Facebook page. Thank you very much, Anissa.
You are most welcome. Happy to be here.